Hello, everybody. So, I was debating on whether to do gameplay or whether to do a vlog, and I kind of decided. Oh, I just realized I have a stain on my shirt. Oops, sorry about that, guys. Um, but anyway, I was debating on which to do. But to be honest, it's already 1:27 p.m. over here. And considering we have D&D tomorrow, I don't know if there would be time for me to, because I have to convert it. Because a few weeks ago I might have mentioned this, that I was having trouble uploading gameplay, and I discovered it's because certain games that I have um do not convert well to being uploaded as just because normally when you upload a file, it gives you like screen recording blah 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 .mov. Well, it turns out that some of these games that I try to upload will not upload unless I change it or add a .mphr, and not entirely sure what that stands for. I don't really remember, but it seems to do the trick because when I do add that, it it works. It uploads it with no problem and stuff. So very glad about that. But I also was like, it'll take me a while to record a video, and then I have to, because what you have to do is you basically edit it into the MPHR mode, and so it takes a while to convert, and then I've got to upload it. So, and like I said, considering it's now 1:30 p.m. and I've been busy this morning doing other things, and so I just kind of decided I'd rather come on here and talk to you guys. I hope you don't mind. I do plan on probably Monday being able to record a video and upload it. Also wanted to tell you guys, I went out yesterday and walked through the rain. Thankfully, it wasn't raining terribly hard, and it's a little chilly out here, but it's not. It's not like freezing cold. At least not yet. Um, or at least it doesn't get that way until much later at night. Um, but I've told you guys about the Christmas stalls that they have. We have a big cathedral here in Exeter, and I want to explore the cathedral at some point, but I also, every year around Christmas time, um, they have a bunch of businesses set up. They have like these wooden stalls. They almost look like, when you see a nativity scene and it's like the plain wood background and it's like a plain wooden hut thing that Mary and Joseph and Jesus and the donkeys and all that are in. Um, so basically it's like that, but there's not like a whole lot of it's not like a house. It's like little, they call them stalls over here, but they're like, I wish I'd taken a picture. Um, I'll see if I can find one and upload it for you guys, maybe on the community tab. But they're basically just like narrow, and not narrow this way, but narrow this way. Like there's not much room between the back of the stall and the front, and then they have doors that come together and lock and stuff like that. So there's a lot of people, different kinds of gifts they got, everything from like jewelry to clothing to snacks to like fudge and treats and all kinds of stuff. So I was just like, I want to go and check it out because, it's kind of fun. It's kind of fun to go along and walk along the paths and see everything. It can be a little crowded though, so which kind of irritated me at a couple points because I had to get up on the uneven ground. And but they do try. Whoever runs this does try their best. They set out I don't even know what you call them. The closest thing I can think of to compare them to is um years ago, back when I used to skate at Skate North before it turned into Incrediroll. Um, they had a wooden floor, just a plain wooden floor, but the problem is that in bad weather, the ceiling would leak and water would drip onto the wood, and wet wood doesn't do all that well, especially when it's not protected against it. And before you ask, don't I do not know. I never found out why. Like they varnished it, they made it smooth and all that, which was why I liked that floor because it was very smooth and it was very there weren't like it wasn't like a rough wood floor. It was more like they'd been smoothed out and then varnished over or whatever. But for some reason, they weren't. They didn't have a protectant painted over it. I think you can do that. Again, I'm not 100% sure, but like you can varnish, like they varnished the floor to make it smooth, but they didn't apparently protect it against the elements that would sneak in. And so eventually, about the time, little bit before I ended up choosing not to go anymore because of various reasons. Um, which there is a story there, and I can tell you guys if you want. Um, bit of drama, a bit of just not getting along with certain people that I thought I was friends with and everything. But yeah, so I can talk to you guys about that if you want me to. Um, but as for right now, just safe to say, after several years of going to because they had a Thursday night adult night thing where no kids, it was all us grown-ups, and we would usually go skate for about an hour or so, and then we'd normally end up going straight up the road to the Perkins that was like right next door, and we would get pie or food or whatever and sit around and talk. to be honest, it was a great group, and I really loved it for the most part. Um, like I said, it did help me grow a little bit, help me realize some of the people in the group weren't maybe the best. It's like, oh yeah, I'm your friend. And it's like, more like, I'm your friend if you do all this for me, but don't expect me to do anything for you. And so, but yeah, so I was just like, yeah. So eventually, but yeah, if you guys want me to, I can get into that story, but maybe later. But as right now, just it's safe to say that after a few years of going and really enjoying the group for the most part, and it was quite fun. Um, but after a while, I decided to not go anymore. And one of the things that helped me decide to not go anymore was because of, and I'm going off of memory here, so I may not get everything completely 100% accurate, so I apologize about that. But from what I remember, because I ended up kind of becoming friends with the dude who ran the rink. Like, he inherited the rink from his parents and stuff, and so he ran the rink, and like, one of the like, he always called me Julia Gulia, which those of you who have watched The Wedding Singer probably recognize that name. I'm gonna be Mrs. Julia Gulia, Love Drew Barrymore, by the way. Love her in that. That is, in my opinion, one of her best roles, and I really enjoy her in that. That was a great comedy, and it was also really great for the nostalgia, for the music and everything. Um, but yeah, so I can't remember the dude's name. It started with a D, I want to say. I don't know if it was Dominique or if it was something else. Might have been Derek. I don't know. I can't really remember. But he was a really nice guy, and he definitely, like, he ran the rink with his girlfriend, who eventually became his fiance, and then I think his wife, I think he married her at some point. I think they got married at some point, and so, it was, the rink was in the family, is what I'm trying to say. It had been passed down. And so he ran it as family business. I kind of remember him telling us at one of the events that because the ceiling kept leaking, and apparently it would cost an arm and leg to get the ceiling repaired, which I can completely understand. But because the ceiling kept leaking every time it rained, they were going to, instead of having wood floor, they were going to install these, I'm not even sure what to call them. They were like floor inserts almost, but they looked kind of like Lego bricks, or like puzzles. They looked like a puzzle. And they had multiple different colors, and I didn't see how it got assembled and put on the floor, but apparently apparently they got glued or attached to the wood somehow, and then they were assembled like a puzzle. And so just interlocking, like they were squares of different colors, and they had like the little divots on each side that you see when you're doing like a puzzle or whatever. And it was kind of like, but they were all the same divots. And so I remember going in there and trying skating, and it was just so different from the wood floor. Because wood floor, like I said, was smooth and all that, so you could basically get yourself going and then just roll for a while, which was kind of how I started out skating. Actually, I used to be one of those wall cleaners. Like, I went along the outside of the rink and I clung onto the wall and kind of all the way around. But then over time, I got more and more confident and more comfortable. And, it ended up with me kind of skating around. You know how the little circle in the middle was usually for like the people who like to spin and do tricks and stuff. Well, sometimes I would get out into that middle section. I wouldn't spin. I didn't know how to do any of those tricks. Although I do remember when a country song would come on, me and some of the others would try to two-step along with it, which is where you basically kicked your feet out and then kicked your foot again and then tried to cross it over your other foot. I couldn't do the fancy moves, but I tried. I did my best. And there were a couple times where like we were allowed to bring our own music, and sometimes, like, usually if you brought a song to play, you know, um, he was the person who ran the rink was very good about slipping it in there and all that. I remember a couple times because I used to have a bunch of CDs, and one of the CDs I had was music from Phantom of the Opera. There were a couple times I'd go in and I'd be like, can I get you to play Music of the Night? And it was so much fun. It was the closest that I ever got to feeling like those professional ice skaters that would glide around at the Olympics. Or there was a time of life where I watched a lot of those ice skaters. I watched like Brian Bottano, Nancy Kerrigan, Scott Hamilton, all those guys. I in fact remember watching Dorothy Hamill back in the day, and that was back in the 70s. Matter of fact, I think I still have some pictures somewhere around, or my parents have pictures of me in the Dorothy Hamill polka. And, that's always hysterical to look back on because it was like, hey, I'm in fashion, I was never one of the cool kids or anything like that, but I was, there were a couple times I followed the trends and whatever. So, I don't know. I just always thought it was fun. But yeah, so I forgot where I was going with this. Um but yeah, so that was a lot of fun, roller game. But was also a lot of fun going and walking along the stalls and getting to check out different things. They had this one that I had to stop at, and it was mostly like little kids' books, but they had some Sherlock Holmes books up on the one of the walls, and it was like that. It was like a crash. I don't know if that's how you say it. It's CRE with a little divot thingy, CHE. Um, kind of like a nativity, but very, very narrow back, and there was room for like the person to have a chair and sit if they wanted to. Or sometimes, I'd see them hovering just outside of their stall or whatever. But it's a lot of fun, and I got to browse around, and I ended up buying. I usually try to buy last year. One of the stalls sold fudge, and it was like the big chunky fudge that's about that big. Of like different pieces, and they had different flavors, and I basically, like, I knew where they were last year, so I wandered down that way to see if they were there. Well, I couldn't find them, but I wandered my way back, and then there was a guy selling cannoli, which is something that I never had, that I've always heard about and seen and stuff like that, but I've never personally had. And they had a deal going on where you could get 3 cannolis for £5, and I was like, yes, please sign me up. So, they were really good. I ate all of them that very day. Not right there at the stall thing. I stuck them in my purse, and I kept going. Came across I want to say it's Monty's jewelry, either Monty's or Morty's. I'm not entirely sure. Apparently, they have a shop in here in town, so I might have to go and check it out. Um, but yeah, well, and it was funny because approaching, it said crystals, and I couldn't see any crystals. They had like jewelry on one side, but then coming back the other way, yeah, I saw some crystals, and like they had some big ones. They had some big spear looking crystals and all that. And so I was like, ooh, that's cool. Not sure how expensive they were. And by that point, the other problem is a lot of these booths, they don't have like a ramp or a way to get up easily. You kind of have to step up into the booth and stuff, which is fine, but makes it kind of awkward when you've got a knee like mine. And by that point, my knee was bugging me a bit, and so I was like, I'm not gonna try getting up in there and getting back out. I'm gonna fall, and that's not gonna be good. So maybe I'll go back sometime this week. And Keith and I talked about maybe going to check it out on Sunday and stuff. And so, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Like I said, tomorrow we've got D&D, and then who knows? We've got tentative plans to go see the second half of Wicked for Good, which I am really looking forward to because I've heard it stays pretty close to the stage play, so very excited about that. Um, but yeah, so I wandered around there for a bit, and then I was like, I'm gonna go. And I was sitting on the bench. One thing I love about Exeter is there are places to sit at, like, convenient places. Not everywhere. Not everywhere. Some places you go, there's not many seating arrangements. But yeah, so I crossed the street and ended up, there's like multiple stores along High Street, and so I was sitting on the bench, and then I looked, and I was like, Marks and Spencer's right over, is right down the road, just less than a foot away. And so I'd been looking for a pair of jeans because I have one that I've had for years and they're getting kind of worn and it's kind of difficult. So I went in there, went to the jeans section, and the other problem I usually have with jeans is that the the pants legs are too long. So, but I found, I don't know if you guys can see, these are boyfriend pants, boyfriend jeans, and they're shorter, and they're really comfy. And so I grabbed these and another pair, just in case the first pair didn't fit or whatever. And these fit just fine. And so it was like, yeah, you're coming home with me. And like I said, Keith had given me a little bit extra money, in case I wanted to do some Christmas shopping, or, like he knew I wanted to go out and get some jeans and stuff. And so, you know, I love Keith. He takes care of me. I do still need to find at least part-time job so that I can earn a little money myself, and so that I can and so that eventually, because if I remember, we have like 3 years to of me living here, and then we have to do the next step in giving me I believe it's called leave to remain or something like that. Like I can stay here and do that. And so we're trying to save up money for that, and because that can run a bit expensive with a lawyer, and because we have to get a solicitor and all that. Thankfully, we have one who's helped us in the past, and I assume it'll be the same person who helps us in the future. But anyway, so yeah, we want to save up money, and I want to save up money so I can eventually get my ears checked, get my eyes checked, because it's been a while on both of those and all that. So, but yeah, so, and if I get a part-time job, then that'll help because I can earn up and save up enough so that I can hopefully do some of those things, and stuff like that. And because it's not like I can't rely on Keith. It's just that I want to I want to have my own source of income. I want to be able to, like, if I want to go across the street to the co-op and get stuff for dinner or whatever, I want to be able to do that without feeling like, oh, I need to make sure I have money in the bank or whatever. I need, So, anyway, that's not anything you guys need to worry about, but just to let you know, I am trying to, not that life is hard here, because it's definitely not, um, but yeah, I am still looking, to get at least something part time so I can continue to do this. And that way, if it does work out as a career, which I'm perfectly content with, at least I can continue to do it as a hobby, but still make some money on the side and do that kind of thing. So, anyway, that's that explanation. But yeah, so I got some jeans and then I started heading home, and it was kind of nice because, the sun sets early here around this time of day. Usually, around 4:30, 5 o'clock is when the sun starts setting. And so I got home at like 3 something, I want to say. And like the sun was already dipping. And so I was like, it's time to go home. It's time to relax and take it easy, and which I did. And yeah, so anyway, that's been my day. I'm looking forward to tomorrow. I'm curious about the new, we're kind of, in our game, we're kind of going through some underground tunnels, and we keep coming across people and or creatures that we need to fight or whatever. So I'm very excited to see what our GM has for us tomorrow. Um, and yeah, so that's pretty much all I've got to share. Um, like I said, yesterday was kind of a busy outdoors day for me, and today I've just been staying inside, been cleaning a bit, washing dishes, making sure things are tidy, that kind of thing. Um, but yeah, other than that, I'm very excited that it's the weekend. I'm very excited for our game tomorrow. And I hope you guys have something to be excited about. I hope you guys have plans for the weekend, even if it's just to stay in and do nothing. Because sometimes that's all you need. Um, but yeah, in the meantime, um, I'm also very excited. I just thought about this. The next episode of, also known as Chapter 5 of Scarlet Hollow, comes out in 2 months. And I'm like, what? It just feels like just the other day when we were playing our playthrough of it. And now it's like, it's starting again. And I have so many playthroughs too. 'Cause like I said, Scarlet Hollow is just one of those games that you can keep coming back to and discovering new stuff. And, so I don't know. I'm just really excited about it. And I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to when it comes out. And I will definitely play it for you guys. Just trying to decide. Like, I know we've got a couple of playthroughs with different traits, but I'm not sure if I want to play just those two or if I want to show you guys like a different one. Kind of depends on how big episode 5 is going to be. And according to Tony and Abby, the developers of the game, it apparently is going to be quite big. So we may have to do multiple playthroughs to see even half of the stuff that's in the game. But I will let you guys know. I might even do a poll and have you guys decide which route we go with first, But yeah. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Pretty much all I wanted to talk to you guys about. And sorry again for no gameplay, but again, like I said, with the lack of time, and that's on me. I probably should have started recording a lot earlier, but oh well. Anyway, I hope you guys have a great weekend, and yeah, I will talk to you guys later.